Well, hey sweet people, and welcome back to my channel, or if it's your first time here, welcome especially. My name's Sally and I am so glad that you've stopped by. I am coming to you with a review video today. I have not made a video like this in a very long while, but today I'm going to be reviewing the ULTRAHUMAN Ring Air. ULTRAHUMAN reached out to me a few months ago, something like that, asking if I would be interested in trying out their product and just sharing my thoughts. It particularly caught my attention because it has features that are supposed to help track your UV exposure in relation to, of course, how your body produces vitamin D, stress rhythm tracking. It also is able to track your temperature, which I'm interested in the context of fertility awareness method, though I will say right off the bat, I always am a little bit apprehensive of anything that's on a lower appendage, like a wrist or a finger, just because you want to make sure that your temps are super accurate, especially if you are using them to prevent pregnancy. And I just have questions about fingers being the most accurate place to measure, but I was still interested nonetheless. And then also the ring and the app are supposed to provide insights based on your personal circadian rhythm about best time to consume caffeine, when to kind of maximize your light exposure. The circadian rhythm piece really caught my attention. So all of that goes to say, I said, sure thing, please send one over. I will say that the management, the staff over at, and the support team, we'll say, over at ULTRAHUMAN has been nothing but a pleasure to work with just throughout that whole experience. I do believe that they have an affiliate link for me, so there's my bias up front. If they do, I'll put it in the description box. I actually had to double check that because I thought they sent it to me and then I couldn't find it. But if I do have an affiliate link, a discount code for you, you can find that down below. But before we move further into this review, let's hop into the sizing and unboxing of the ring. I'm about to unbox my ULTRAHUMAN Air ring, but before I do the ring itself, I want to show you what they sent me first. Before you get your ring, they actually send you, I think you can opt out of it if you are confident in your ring size, but they send you a ring sizing kit, which I was very grateful for, because while I know the size of my wedding ring finger, I didn't know what the size of my other fingers was. And I tried measuring myself using a clothing tape measure, but I wasn't getting a consistent result. And so it just takes a lot of stress off to know that, especially with a decent investment like this is, you're gonna get the right size. So here's a sizing kit. You open it up, and then this is the box of different, they're plastic rings that you can try on, and it just has a little instruction card in here as well, and it shows you samples of the different colors. This makes me laugh because they totally labeled the different colors. They stuck the pieces on the wrong colors, but that's okay because you can tell what's what. So when you open up the ring sizing kit, you'll see they just have a number of different plastic rings that you can try on, and they say to wear the one that fits or that you think fits for at least 2 nights, so that you know it doesn't move around in the night, know it doesn't cut off circulation. I found out that for this finger, which is where I want to wear it, my right index finger, the size 8 is right for me. It's weird, this is literally bigger than all of my other fingers except for my thumbs. So I'm glad I checked, because we're talking this ring finger is 6 1/4, and all of the others are between 6 and 7. I don't know. This other index finger is closer to an 8, but probably a 7 1/2. So that's just weird. Asymmetrical fingers, I guess. But anyways, that's the little ring sizing kit. Let's unbox the ring itself. I am so excited for this. So I haven't opened it. I just pulled it out of the bag that it came in. Start by pulling this little tab. Nice. Turn it around so I can see it. And I'll flip the camera around too, I guess, so that we can kind of look at it together. But here's the box that the ring itself is in, once you pull it out of the shipping box. So it looks like this top part just pulls off. Nice. And there's the ring. Oh, it's super lightweight. and it fits perfectly. Okay, I feel like I went with the right size. I chose the gold so that it would go with my wedding ring, even though I'm wearing my wedding ring on the other hand. It is just a little thicker than I thought it would be, but it's not bad. My nails look awful right now, as they usually do, but that's okay. What else is in here? Okay, so a little introductory card. We've got instructions, and this must be a little charging pad. You can't take it off while I'm holding that. The charging pad that you put it on. There we go. Maybe this way. And then I would assume in here you've got your cord that you plug this charger into. So now that you've been introduced to the ring, I want to start by talking about cost, fit, and durability. The ULTRAHUMAN Ring Air comes in at $350, which is definitely a good chunk of change to spend on something. But when we look at it in conjunction with the competitors, compare it to Oura Ring particularly, Oura Ring starts at $350 or like $349, and the price goes up from there. I believe some of the models are even around the $450 range, where all of the ULTRAHUMAN Ring Airs are the same price at $350. The other massive benefit of this ring in comparison to Oura is that there is no monthly fee, whereas with Oura you have to pay every single month in order to have access to the app, have access to your data, and all of that stuff, which I really am not about. I actually looked into the Oura Ring a couple years ago and kind of ruled it out for that reason. In terms of fit, like I said in the unboxing video, this is the right size for me. And I have to preface with, I am so weird about jewelry. I'm so particular, easily bothered, especially fitness tech too. Like I'll wear my Fitbit on runs, but then I take it off because it just drives me insane to have something on my wrist. I wish I weren't this way, because sometimes it would be nice to, you know, whether it's jewelry or whether it is like a fitness tech piece of equipment, it'd be nice to be a little bit less bothered by it, but that's just how I am. So that said, while this does fit correctly, sometimes I don't notice it, and sometimes honestly it just really does annoy me, particularly if I am working out, which I think is a little bit problematic given that workout tracking is one of the features. I find it a bit annoying when I'm running, but then especially when I'm weightlifting. It is okay for like push workouts, for like workouts it's generally fine, but it is those pull workouts in particular that I usually end up just having to take it off. Any sort of pull-ups or rows, lat pull downs, just gripping a bar like that, gripping handles like that, it is quite annoying. Let's just be honest, it's quite annoying. But I would just consider for yourself kind of your tolerance for that type of thing and whether or not it would get on your nerves. I will say, I think also just with it being as thick as it is, sometimes moisture does get underneath, whether that's sweat or whether that's water from just going about your day. It's great that it is waterproof, and I believe it's waterproof. I don't remember exactly how deeply it is rated, but pretty substantial. Like you could go swimming with it, you could just play around with it in the water and you'll be in good shape. But when water does get under it, sometimes I will get like a white ring and just have to take it off so my finger can dry out a little bit. In terms of durability, I think it does pretty good. There are definitely some smaller scratches on it from where I have been lifting weights, but I'm under, you know, no illusion that it would stay perfectly scratch free. They set expectations with that up front, so I personally don't have any issue with that. Okay, so getting into the next feature, let's talk about sleep and recovery tracking. And this is where I believe the ULTRAHUMAN Ring really shines. You get, first of all, a comprehensive sleep score from the app when you sync the ring with your app in the morning. And then if you click on the sleep score, it breaks it down into, you know, your different types of sleep, restoration quality. You get a ton of stats. I'll put a couple screenshots or a little video up on screen so you can get a feel for what that looks like. It's also measuring your skin temperature overnight. It's also measuring your HRV when your heart rate drops. I don't understand fully how all of this data affects your score or how it reflects on your overall health or sleep quality, but they have an algorithm that seems to be pretty consistent, at least with, you know, how I'm feeling and how I feel from my sleep. Now, just up front, I know that I'm a pretty good sleeper, so I don't feel that I actually need a piece of tech that is going to tell me whether or not I'm doing a good job sleeping. In the past, when I haven't been sleeping well, I've actually found it a little bit stressful to have a piece of tech telling me that I'm not sleeping well, because I'm like, I already know. However, on the flip side, I think that if you are someone who is struggling with your sleep and wants insight into why that is, or even just needs accountability to kind of get to sleep at a certain time, have good sleep hygiene, have good kind of habits around your circadian rhythm as well, then this ring could be a really great asset. And also in terms of recovery. So obviously how we sleep affects how we recover. You get a recovery score from the ring as well, with different factors. One thing that I'm a little bit confused about, and hey, maybe some of you could actually lend clarity on this, is HRV, so heart rate variability. Overall, I feel that I am recovering really well. I feel great in the day to day as a whole. My energy is high. I'm able to perform really well in my workouts, and all of my scores have been really great, except for my HRV has been super low. It's been like 38-ish, 40-ish. Which, according to my research and according to what the ring often says, that is apparently very low, like in the needs attention area. So I don't know if the ring is reading it wrong or if that's just my body and there's actually nothing wrong with that. I'm not gonna claim to be like an insanely fit person, but I am a pretty decently fit person. I just ran a marathon. I weightlift, 4 times a week, and I'm, hiking, running, walking regularly. I do, make sure to recover really well. Obviously, it makes sense that my HRV would be lower kind of coming out of the marathon because of the stress that put on my body. But it was low before the marathon, even in my taper, and it has stayed low a month after, whereas it's just not consistent with the rest. So dissect that. If you have thoughts, if you have information on HRV that can help me understand it better, please don't hesitate to let me know in the comments. While the ring really shines in the sleep and recovery areas, I think the workout tracking feature, the movement tracking feature, is where this ring struggles. And just upfront, bluntly, if you are looking for a fitness tracker, this is not what I would go for. If you're looking for a recovery tracker, this could be a great option for you. So here's what I mean. The ring seems to do okay in terms of steps. I have compared it to my Fitbit, which I'm not wearing. I keep holding my arm, but I'm not wearing it. I have compared it to my Fitbit, and it definitely records lower in terms of steps than my Fitbit, but I know that there is a lot of variability between devices in terms of their algorithms and how conservative they tend to be in terms of steps. So I don't necessarily mind that. But when it comes to calorie burn and when it comes to heart rate, the ring seems to be quite off. So I will say, if I am just resting, if I'm sleeping, if I'm going about my day, the heart rate seems to be pretty accurate. Sleep, obviously, it's a good bit lower, but throughout the day, in the 70s, in the 80s, depending on how active I am. The moment I exercise, whether I put it in workout mode or just let it automatically detect, it is recording my heart rate is way lower than I know that it actually is, just based on how I'm feeling, based on if I measured it, using my fingers and a stopwatch, based on what my Fitbit would say. For instance, I went on a run the other day and my ring was saying that my average heart rate was about 120, 128, whereas my watch was saying it was more around 140, 148. So I don't know if that is a blood flow thing, if it is a movement thing. Again, I think it is just tricky when you have something so much like lower down on your body, on a small part of your body, to track accurately. But that's definitely something to be aware of, that at least in my experience, the heart rate during movement does not seem to be accurate, but when you are resting, sleeping, just going about your day, it does seem to be a lot more trustworthy. And so I think it is still good in terms of tracking recovery, tracking sleep, and all of that. The other area in terms of movement where this watch really seems to struggle is going to be with how it records calories, both over the course of the day as a whole and over the course of specific workouts. And I think the best example of this is going to be the day I ran my marathon. So on Sunday, September 15th, if you look here, it says that I burned 3,279 calories, which is a lot of calories. Don't get me wrong. Understand I was wearing my Fitbit at the same time. And this number supposedly accounts for total calories, both active and resting over the course of the day. But according to my Fitbit, in the time that I ran my marathon, which was just over 5 hours, I burned this number of calories, or just about, alone. So this is drastically under recording my calories for the course of the day. And I didn't actually start a workout on this day. I just let it kind of automatically record. When I have gone in and started manually workouts or runs, if I'm running for 20 minutes, there have been times where it has said that I have burned like 42 calories over the course of that workout, which obviously is just not correct. I'd say on average, I'm burning about 90 to 100 calories per mile when I run, and the ring just doesn't seem to pick that up. I did work with customer support on this. They did try to do some things to correct it. And I will say the movement tracking category of this ring, area of this ring feature, that's the word we're looking for, is still in beta testing. So I'm gonna give it a little bit of grace there, but I do think it is something they could really improve on. And again, I just reiterate, get this as a recovery device. I would not get it for fitness tracking specifically. Now let's get into the features that I was really excited about, which are going to be the temperature tracking, the circadian rhythm tracking, and then sunlight tracking specifically. I was under the impression when I first heard about these features, and maybe this is just totally my bad, but that the ring was going to have sensors built in where it could tell, you know, if you were in sunlight, if you were outdoors somehow, like from UV exposure. Again, I'm not a techie person, so this probably sounds so wrong, and I just don't know what I'm talking about, but I thought maybe the ring would have features to automatically detect that in terms of sunlight, first of all. The ring does not. It may automatically detect if you are on a walk, and then it will ask, were you outside when you were walking? And then you can add that to your UV timeline, but it does not actually automatically detect sunlight. You have to manually add it. Like if you're sitting outside, if you're just hanging out outside, it's not going to know. I will say the ring tells you that you need way more sunlight than you actually do in order to produce adequate vitamin D. I'm not sure where they're getting their information from or how it works, but it's saying like, you know, if you're partially covered, you need like 4 hours of full sun exposure, 3.5 hours of full sun exposure in order to produce adequate vitamin D. And being a nutritional therapy practitioner, I just know that's not the case. I know it's a lot more nuanced than that. And so I don't actually find this feature helpful. But I don't know, maybe there is development to be had in that department, or maybe I'm misunderstanding what exactly they are trying to do. In terms of temperature and in terms of cycle tracking, I was really excited because I thought it was going to use my temperature to inform my cycle, or like how it reads my cycle. It does not seem to do this. It seems that as of right now, and this may be a feature, I think it actually is a feature that they are planning to expand upon in the future, but as of right now, when you click on cycle, it doesn't really show you anything about your temperature. It just essentially seems like it's using the rhythm method. So it tells you what day of your cycle you're on based on when your period was, which if you've been around here, you know that is not actually an effective means of understanding where you are in your cycle, and certainly not something you can depend on if you are trying to practice fertility awareness method. But I am excited to see, you know, if the ring explores future opportunities with this, or if ULTRAHUMAN kind of takes this further. I think there has been some talk about it. Like I said earlier, I think I'm always a little bit weary about temperature from a finger, because I'm just so conservative when it comes to how I, you know, practice fertility awareness method. And I think those temperatures from a finger are a little bit, you know, hard to depend on, but I'll be really excited to see, you know, where they go with that. Just understand that at the time of my recording this video, that's not what you're getting. The temperature tracking just seems to relate to recovery, and I've actually found that information a little bit hard to interpret. Okay, so I know that was a lot. I know that was a little bit rambly, but my goal here is just to give you a really realistic view of my experience with the ULTRAHUMAN Ring Air. I think it just entirely depends on what you're going to be using it for, whether or not it's a good fit. And assuming I do have that affiliate link, I'll put it down below. I'll certainly link it somehow or another so you guys can go check it out and learn more about it. I do know that there are plenty of people who really, really love it. I just am a little weird when it comes to fitness tech, or when it comes to recovery tech. And I think the more that I try, the more that I realize I want something to give me stats about my workouts specifically. But other than that, I just really don't care. So that's me being brutally honest. If you're someone who really likes this kind of thing, definitely go check it out. I'm gonna shut up now. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, bye y'all.